Good morning, YouTube. Today I'm going to do a stream of consciousness about fear. Fear is a very interesting emotion, I think, because it's not something that people usually acknowledge, and it's not something that people usually use as a metaphor or a hyperbole. For example, when people are happy, or they're joyful, or they're angry, you usually see a lot of different hyperboles or metaphors such as, I'm seeing red, I'm so angry I'm so happy. But you rarely see that when somebody is afraid or they're fearful. And it's usually something that people don't talk about a lot. And I think it's because of our culture, primarily Western culture, where it's seen as not strong or not courageous to tell people that you're fearful of something. And usually a lot of people internalize their fear, they push it down, they don't recognize it, and they ignore it. And I think that's a very dangerous thing. I've done that on a number of occasions, and I could never get past that fear until I opened up, talked about it, and internalized it, and realized, and then I could move past it. For me, fear can be a defense mechanism. Fear usually happens when something harmful or hurtful has happened to you, or somebody else has done something to you, and then you fear about doing that thing or trying that thing again. The fear is protecting you from risking again and maybe getting hurt again. But it's also harmful to you. Because if you keep on pushing that fear down and go, no, I'll never risk again, I'll never try again, then you're just stopping yourself and you're making yourself more miserable. You're protecting yourself in the short term, but in the long term, it's going to get harder and harder and harder because you're doing it over and over again. You go, whenever that risk comes up or whenever that fear comes up, you stop yourself from doing it. And then your body gets used to doing it over and over again. And if you've done it for a period of 4 or 5 years, it gets very, very difficult to overcome that fear. But I think it's very important to come it and push past it and, yes, take risks. And yes, you might get hurt, but to me it's better to take risks than to stay afraid. And I have had to experience that in my own life. There are a few things that I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of risking again, but I've got to move past that to see how enjoyable it could be and how enjoyable life could be if you move past that fear. I think a way to move past that fear is to vocalize it, to tell somebody you love and trust what are you afraid of, and then that person can help you move through that fear. They can show you things that you might not even realize about yourself. They can show you where you're stopping yourself from maybe enjoying life or maybe taking risks because you're afraid, and they'll help you move past it. But that's one of the hardest things to do, is to vocalize your fear, because you have to recognize that there may be something wrong with you. There may be something that you've been internalizing wrong. Not wrong as in bad wrong, just wrong as in you've been internalizing it for so long that it's not healthy anymore. It's not good for you anymore. And you've got to move past that. And I think that's one of the hardest things to do, but I think it needs to be done so that you can experience life more fully. Many people think that the opposite of fear is not being afraid. I think the opposite of fear is love. And not just romantic love, but friendship love. Because when you're among friends that love you and care about you, you feel freer to externalize your fears and tell people about them. And they'll be that supportive community to help you. They'll be the friends there to kick you when you're being stupid, to tell you why you're doing something when even you don't know why you're doing it, to get past your defenses, which may not be logical, and to tell you what you really need to do. And if you've broken off friendships or drawn within yourself, dealing with that fear is much, much harder. That's why I think love is needed to help people overcome their fears of whatever it may be. The ability to feel love in a community or among friends. The ability to feel free to share whatever going on in your mind. The ability to have those relationships to help you get through. I think that's what's most important. I think that's an important thing to realize when we may be fearful, we may be afraid of something. To use our friends and our support networks that are around us, and to help them as well when they might be afraid. If you want to share your fears or just vocalize them, do so in the comments. Don't forget to be awesome. I'll see you next week.